Alright, so now it's time for us to finish up 5.4 for you guys. And this is going to be your nonlinear system of equations, but in application modes, okay? And we're going to do most of these. I think we're going to go ahead and skip 12, so we're going to get about 4 problems in. That should be enough to help you with the ones you need to do for homework and stuff. So the first one, if I need, it's a nonlinear system of equations, which means you're going to need multiple equations to write. So the first one, a right triangle has a hypotenuse of 13 and an area of 30 square inches. So we're looking at a right triangle has a hypotenuse of 13, but I don't know the legs, so we'll say A and B. Okay, well, in fact, let's just say X and Y. Make it easier. What's area of a triangle? Base times height divided by 2. So if you remember, to find a hypotenuse, you have to use Pythagorean theorem. X squared plus y squared is equal to 13 squared. And if the area is 30 square inches, that's base times height divided by 2 is 30. So there are my two equations. Okay. Now what I need to do is solve. So what I have to do is solve one of these. Substitution is going to be our only method. Okay, so I need to solve for one of these. Easiest, you don't want square roots. Easiest to solve this one for a letter. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2. Let's say we solve for x. We would get 60 and then divide by y. And then this is going to get plugged into here. That's substitution method. 60 over y squared plus y squared is equal to 169. That's 13 squared. Now this is going to be 3600 over y squared plus y squared is equal to 169. Now, we don't like fractions, so let's multiply everything by y squared. And I say, ugh. But what that gives me is 3600 plus y to the 4th is equal to 169 squared, which gives me y to the 4th minus 169 y squared plus 360 is equal to 0. You know, I say, oh, okay, now we gotta remember, can this factor? That's half of this, so yes. Y squared minus minus, and believe it or not, two numbers that multiply to 3600 that add up to 169 are actually 25 and 144. You could figure that out, but I'll do it for you, save us some time. 144. Let's solve both those. That's y squared is equal to 25, so y is going to be plus or minus 5. Or y is going to be plus or minus 12. Which means I have multiple answers. Okay? But now remember, these are inches. So that means the negatives don't work. So that means find the length of each leg. 5 inches and 12 inches. And that works. Okay? So, kind of use that same method here. Find two numbers whose sum is 12. So, x plus y has to equal 12. But their product, x and y product, is also 35. X times y is 35. So now, we're going to solve. And you can do two things. You can get the fraction, plug it in. I think it's easier if I don't have to have a fraction. I'm going to say x is equal to 12 minus y. Move the y over. And then I'm going to plug it in for here. And I'm going to get 12 minus y times y is equal to 35. And I'm going to distribute 12y minus y squared. Get everything to the other side. Y squared minus 12y plus 35. And guess what? The two numbers factor. Y minus 7, y minus 5. So my two answers are 5 and 7, which both add up to 12 multiplied to 35. Alright, so far so good. So let's look at 11. We're going to skip 12 just for time purposes. Okay, it says the sum of the squares of two negative numbers. Okay, so the sum of the squares, x, there are two numbers, x and y, so if I square them, they're going to equal 145. The difference of those two squares is going to be 17. Now, what method is going to be the best one to work here? Well, wouldn't addition be nice and pretty? Those are going to cancel. 2x squared is equal to 162 divided by 2. X squared is equal to 81. So x is going to be plus or minus 9. Now, here's where this negative comes into play. I'm only going to use the negative 9. Okay, so x has to equal negative 9, and then we're going to plug it in. The only one that works, so let's just plug it into this one. Negative 9 squared minus y squared is equal to 17. Be 81 minus y squared is equal to 17. Subtract. Negative y squared is equal to negative 64, or y squared is equal to 64, or y is going to be plus or minus 8, but again I only want the negative. So what are the two numbers? Negative 9 and negative 8, because they have to both be negative. Okay? Alright, so the last one we're going to do is 13. Alright, so 13 has a dimension of a rectangle whose perimeter is 36. Now if you remember, perimeter of a rectangle is that. Area of a rectangle is that. So that's where I'm going to get my two equations from. 2L plus 2W is equal to 36. Okay? And LW is equal to 80. Now, what's the easiest one to solve for? This one here. Okay, so let's just solve. Let's say L is 80 over W. And then what we're going to do is plug that back in for L. So we're going to get 2 times 80 over W plus 2W is equal to 36. We're going to solve for W. Okay, so that's going to be 160 over W. And we're going to multiply everything by W just to get rid of the fraction. Squared is equal to 36W. You get everything to one side. Divide everything by 2. W squared minus 18W plus 80 is equal to 0. And that does factor nicely to W minus 8 and W minus 10, which gives me 8 and 10 as my width. Well, if I think about the area, if one of the width is 8, then the other one has to be 10, or vice versa, right? So what are the dimensions? 8 by 10 in meters. Okay? And so that is the last of 5.4.